Yeah, she put an absolutely massive play to start the game.
He gets rid of the save line. One hit KO.
Pokemon Red and Green were the games that kicked off the multi-billion-dollar franchise that many of us recognize today. However, at the very start, the developers had no idea that their creation would explode the way it did. In fact, the first games they released were riddled with bugs, edits, and general features that had to be cut at the last minute due to storage capacity limitations on the original Game Boy cartridges. So, let's talk about some of the leftover and unused content that can be found in the Japanese and English Generation 1 games of Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue. First up, in an interview with Tsunekazu Ishihara, he explained that during the debugging process of the original Red and Green games, every time you passed by a trainer, you would have to battle them, even if you had already beaten them before. In addition, the encounter rate for Pokemon was much higher, occurring once every 2 steps. It would have literally taken players half a day to get through a cave in-game, so this was changed to our current encounter rate in order to be more user-friendly. There may have been an additional HM move originally intended to be included in the games, specifically somewhere between Fly and Surf, since there's still a slot left open in the internal data for it. There's also an unused text string in the game that reads, "Ground rose up somewhere," which very well might have been related to this scrapped HM move, since this text is comparable to other HMs used in the overworld. There's a hidden key item included in Red and Green that, if hacked in, will allow the player to surf without using a Pokemon. Due to this fact, it's commonly referred to as the surfboard. While this very well may have been used as a debugging tool for the programmers, ease of getting around, it's possible we may have originally had a second item, like the bike, that would have helped you move around the overworld. When Pokemon Blue was going to be released in Japan, the developers took the opportunity to update many of the sprites in-game. In the November 1996 issue of CoroCoro Comic, there was a segment demonstrating some of the new front sprites compared to their old counterparts. However, a handful of these were changed from the image published. Raticate, Rhydon, Ditto, Dragonair, and Mewtwo all have a very different look than in their original artwork and their updated look, meaning that they were edited after this magazine was released. Did you know that originally there was going to be a Butterfree for Beedrill in-game trade? The Beedrill's nickname was Pippin in Red and Green, or Chiku Chiku in Pokemon Blue. This explains why there are unused text strings still left in the game that reference a Beedrill whose name is Chiku Chiku. Before the English releases of Red and Blue, screenshots of in-game showed a different string of text used when a player was about to battle an opponent. The word "the" was added before the opponent's trainer class, such as "the hiker wants to fight." However, this made opponents with actual names sound weird, such as "the Misty wants to fight," and was eventually cut. Yet, a screenshot in the instruction manual for Red and Blue still contains the text, "the Brock wants to fight," suggesting a late removal of the definite article. Have you ever noticed how the copyright date on Pokemon games and merchandise starts in the year 1995? Pokemon Red and Green actually released on February 27th, 1996 in Japan, and, as the very first iterations of anything Pokemon, it seems peculiar to have an incorporated date of 1995. Well, according to an old Nintendo of Japan flyer, Red and Green were originally scheduled for a December 21st, 1995 release. This was clearly later pushed back. Shigeki Morimoto has confirmed that there were originally going to be 190 Pokemon included in Generation 1 before they realized that they were going to run out of space on the game itself. If you look within the game's files, you can find 39 different cries in the Pokédex, which would relate to the 39 cut Pokemon. 151 plus 39 equals 190 anyway. One of these cries is modified from Zubats and strongly resembles Crobats from Generation 2, indicating that Zubat's second evolution was probably cut from Generation 1. And finally, there's an unused warp tile in Celadon City that's programmed to send the player to the 5th floor of the Celadon department store. This floor, in turn, has its data stored away from the data of the other floors, indicating that originally it may have been an entirely different map altogether, and explains the warp tile. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. That's gonna finish me out for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys come back this weekend for Pokemon Feet. And hopefully you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you later. Peace.